9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2,
Manchester
1,
United have
0.
reached the promised land.
How are we all doing this morning, everybody? I've got a smile on my face. I'm sure you've got a smile on your face. That was brilliant last night from Manchester United. Unexpectedly brilliant. I've been saying here for quite a while, at some point it's going to click with Manchester United. I thought it was going to click with us scoring 3, 4, 5 goals in a game before it clicked like it did last night. That was a front-to-back total team performance, almost a flawless execution of Erik Ten Hag's system. The high press was there. Everything was there against Spurs last night. And I tell you what, I can't wait to talk about all of it in this live show this morning. There are so many different talking points that we are going to be discussing. I will be discussing every single one of them with you, and we're going to be doing our player ratings. We're going to do that live. It's going to be a cracking show. And I tell you what, I'll say it now. I will talk about Ronaldo, but I will talk about that at the end of the show after I talk about every single positive from last night, because I will not let what Ronaldo did take precedent and lead the conversation ahead of what was probably the best performance I think we've seen post-Fergie. And geez, you're going to have to go back even in Fergie's times. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say that. Last night was just out of this world. I did not expect it. Erik Ten Hag said it after the game. He goes, I did not expect that. I don't think anybody expected it. Who's down here in the comments? As always, I give shout-outs to all the members in the comments. So let me see who's down here first before we get started. Ray Sam, good morning to you. Stephen, I can see you there. Mark Andrew Paul. Suman, I can see you. Carl Push Pinder. Tyler. We've got Ben Swee. We've got Tun Hassin. How you doing, buddy? Edward Gungshi, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you there as always. T. Ant, Josh, Jordan, Sarath, Michael Parsons. So many of you down here. So who's on Facebook as well? Rick Hustler, you're saying the best team post Fergie, best performance post Fergie. It was the total collectiveness of it. Honestly, I know ultimately man of the match was between Fred or Bruno, but you really could have had an argument if you fancied it for Martinez, for Dalot, for Shaw, for Casemiro. Wow, just everybody to a man yesterday. It just blew me away. It blew me away. I did not expect to see that level of Erik Ten Hag's system being so well executed in a big game. Spurs, flying high. Their best ever start to a Premier League season. And we absolutely destroyed them. It wasn't even close. The only time where Spurs posed a threat to us was in the first half when Harry Kane found a bit of space in the middle and he was firing that ball over to the right-hand side. That looked a little bit dangerous at times, but as soon as we stopped that, Martinez went really aggressive on Kane, cut the space out. They didn't know what to do. I said it in my match reaction last night. It was, wow, man. Wow. Right there that's a glimpse of where we can get to. That's a glimpse of what Erik Ten Hag wants this team to do. That's a glimpse. That is a consequence of the hard work that has been put in by every single one of these players and Erik Ten Hag from the start of the preseason to now. Dave, great super chat down there. He's saying, look, high pressing at its best. And look, so much is said about Fred. And I will speak about Fred and his individual performance later. But I said it before the game. Honestly, there were so many fans, if they got their way, that Bruno and Fred would have been dropped from that game. But Fred, if you play a high-pressing system, there probably aren't many better. There aren't many better than Fred in that style. He worked and he worked and he worked. And he just didn't tire. My word, that guy's lung capacity. Jeez, unreal from Fred yesterday. And got a deflected goal as well because he deserved it for the work rate. Bob, you're saying it was without doubt the most complete performance in 10 years. Ten Hag slowly starting to stamp his influence on these players. Bob, I agree with the first part, but I don't really agree with the second part and the idea of it being... I mean, last night was anything but slow. And the fact that we went from Newcastle to that, something just clicked yesterday. Something just clicked. I don't know whether it was a switch inside the head of the players. I don't think it was a tactical switch. Or maybe it was a slight tactical switch as well. Whatever it was, it blew me away. It completely blew me away, and it blew Erik Ten Hag away. His post-match comments there yesterday, he goes, look, to be fair, I didn't expect it because Spurs have played really well this season. Every performance has been good. I thought before we needed to be really good to win, and we were. It was magnificent. It was a magnificent performance, and I hope we set a new base. And that's it. Now we've got, and this is what I said in my match reaction, I remember saying this too, that's the blueprint. That's the video that should now be on repeat in the training ground. That's the new level and performance that every single time that United, I don't know, at halftime we need G'ing up again. Just look back to what you did as a team against Spurs, because every man did their job properly, and it was that cohesive team unit that made it just so brilliant yesterday. Ayanda, you're saying, look, we stopped Arsenal's unbeaten run. We beat Liverpool. Look, man, we've beaten now, so far at Old Trafford this season, we've beaten Liverpool, Arsenal, and Spurs. And I think we've done them all pretty comprehensively. I would say the Spurs, by some margin, is the most comprehensive. Arsenal, it got a little bit nervy towards that second half, but we exploded with 2 quick goals, and they had no response. And Liverpool, I felt we were in control of that. Yeah, you might say that we play Liverpool at a good time, but sod that. We've beaten Liverpool, Spurs, and Arsenal at Old Trafford. Now, that doesn't put a smile on face. I seriously don't know what will. Dave is saying Fred was immense last night. For me, it's because he feels comfortable with Casemiro behind him. Now, yeah, I spoke about Fred and Casemiro in my pre-match preview and 11. I said, look, so far, we haven't really seen that Fred and Casemiro partnership. But yesterday, we saw every single element of it. Fred was superb. But I tell you what, I think I was gonna speak about him later in the show, but I'll have a little conversation about him now. That guy, man. That guy right there. Genuinely, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone in the comments here. There were people trying to write him off after, hey, it maybe even less than 90 minutes of Premier League football. He's past it. Yeah, never mind. We've signed a dud. We've wasted 70 million. I was like, fucking hell. It's nearly as bad as Jamie Carragher trying to write Lisandro Martinez off. He can't possibly play in a back four. Jamie, I can't wait for you to publicly apologize about that. Absolute outrageous take. And Casemiro, he's showing his class. He set the tone yesterday. Of all the players, I think it was him that... you could argue Lisandro Martinez in equal measure. But Casemiro set the tone yesterday. Casemiro really was so... It was like controlled aggression. He knew when to be snide. He knew when to go in fully into a 50-50. He knew when to hold back. He knew when to speed the play up. He knew when to slow it down. He's been involved... Well, he's won 5 Champions Leagues. Spoiler alert. He knows what big games are all about. And he brought that mentality yesterday. And it made such a big, big difference to this Manchester United team. Alex, you're down here, man. Absolute legend of the game. Legend of the United People's TV community. Gifting 10 memberships this morning. Thank you very much, dude. Who is lucky enough to get one from Alex this morning? Let's find out. Jim Mack, you've got one. Moses. Alex, you've got one as well. DK, Paul Gray. Wicked Cold one. You've got one. Jason Gascoigne. Christopher. I can see you there. Gary Evelyn. And Shegsy. Congratulations to all of you. Say thank you very much to the main man himself. There's a super chat there from Michael saying, look, for redemption. For redemption, he was on fire. It's a nice word, for redemption. I like that. But look, Ten Hag speaking about the game after, he said, look, this was the first time that we've dominated the opponent from beginning until the end. We are starting to play proactive football. When we lose the ball, when we have the ball, I'm liking what I see. Mate, Erik, man, I'm loving what I saw last night. And it was that proactiveness. Today's going to be a busy day in United People's TV Towers. I will be doing a video that's going to go out after this on the Ronaldo situation. I will be speaking about the Ronaldo situation at the end of the video where it belongs as a footnote to the performance yesterday, because that's what that Ronaldo situation was, a footnote. but I will speak about it and I will address it later on. I also want to do an analysis. I might be able to do an analysis that goes out later today, or I might be able to get the analysis out tomorrow. But tomorrow we're talking about Chelsea, so I don't know when I'm going to do it. It might be a busy couple of days here, but I tell you what, it's worth it. It's really, really worth it, man. I don't care putting the extra time in, the extra hours in to do the extra videos, because I think it's so important that we all try and understand the process that we're going down. Because last night was, man, that's so exciting. What we saw last night is what we've been hoping for so long. That collective, aggressive, proactive team unit, defensive shutout, creating chances left, right, and centre. Yes, I will speak about Rashford, and I will speak about the lack of clinical finishing that was there last night. But Bruno Fernandes, talk about clinical finishing. What a worldie of a finish that was. Neo Visual, you're joining as a member, and I think someone else down there as well. Let me get the name. Bob Slots. Let me know where you're watching from, and I can see the main man. I think I can. I can see the names in the comments shouting about it. Let me just make sure it's correct. Everyone's talking about Gungshi, and I can't see. It's not popped up for me here, but I'm sure it will do, because I know that the comments do not lie. Gungshi, you seriously must have the most secret, endless second account that exists. I can't actually see anything that's popped up here, but I'm sure I will at some point. But Kirito, look, you might not be wrong there. Honestly, I'm gonna have to do some. I have to, and I'm trying to. I promise. I want to do more with the members and more for the members. I really, really promise I am working on it. I'm not ignoring it, and I'm not taking it for granted. Denzer, you've joined the gang as well. Mate, Hassan, I said this on the Twitter yesterday. If we get a clinical striker, imagine what this team could do, man. But Ten Hag, speaking about it in a bit of further detail, he said, look, I want to get the best out of all my players, but that is to do with team performances and the way of playing. The way of playing, rules and principles to get the philosophy in. Sorry, I'm trying to multitask here. I'm trying to get up the stream so I can actually see what's going on at the same time. Yeah, there he is, Gungshi. Let me just pull this up here. I don't want to ignore that because Gungshi's so generous with that. I want to make sure I read out the 10 names who he's welcomed into the community. And actually, I can't because there's so many comments coming in. I can't actually see the 10 now. But Gungshi, you absolute ledge, man. Thank you very much. The generosity is unbelievable. Back to what Ten Hag was saying. I want to get the best out of all my players, but that is to do with the team performance and the way of playing, rules and principles, and to get the philosophy in. Today, it was a team performance, but then individuals can show themselves. And it really was a team performance. This stat, I think this is probably one of the most impressive stats I saw from the game yesterday. Manchester United attempted 28 shots against Spurs, and that is the most faced by any team managed by Antonio Conte in the top flight, and he's managed over 300 games. That's how impressive that was yesterday. Typically, an Antonio Conte team is extremely difficult to break down. There's so many bodies there. There's 6, 7, 8 players behind the ball that you can't really get shots away. But because we were so proactive, we were winning the ball so high up the pitch, because that's what Spurs do. They sit deep, win the ball, try and burst out with pace on the counter-attack. But we won the ball back so quickly that it kept leaving spaces. And it really is. It's magnificent how United played yesterday. And in terms of the aggression was there with the running as well. Manchester United covered 114.4 kilometres against Tottenham, the most in a match under Ten Hag, and 20 kilometres more than they did against Brentford. We're looking at the worst performance so far under Erik Ten Hag, and we're now looking at the best performance so far under Erik Ten Hag. 20 kilometres more we ran yesterday. Nearly half a marathon as a team. It's just incredible. Zane, you've joined the gang as well. Gifting 5 memberships. Who's been lucky enough there? We've got Christian Johnson, Ikuraru, Sam Lewis, Daniel Mpundu, Maruti Unje, I think. It really is raining memberships. And I'll tell you what, it was. Look, Paul is there saying that's an upshift. That's more than an upshift. It's more than an upshift. That's what I mean. Last night, it just clicked. It just fell into place. And I don't know what it was, because it's not as if tactically anything really changed between Newcastle and Spurs. I think all the players understood the exact same system principles. It's just that something clicked. Something inside these players made them go, you know what? Fuck it, let's go. Let's give everything. And I don't know whether that's Casemiro sort of influencing the team. I think that's a part of it. It's just everybody to a man was up for it yesterday. And when you do that and you don't have any gaping holes, you can see the sorts of performances that we saw yesterday. Bruno, Fred, but Bruno himself, man. Can we speak about Bruno? I've had to defend. We spoke about Bruno yesterday. I feel like I've had to defend Bruno a little bit too much. And I've tried to explain why I think people are going a little bit overly harsh on Bruno. And last night we saw Bruno. There he is. He's right there. He's always just been bubbling under the surface. Paul has a really good comment there saying, look, gifted memberships, they're chosen by YouTube at random, and they're also only for 1 month. All of you who are lucky enough, and thank you, that make sure you say thank you to who gave you one. Welcome aboard. It's there for 1 month only. I'd love to see you join the gang after that. But Bruno, there he is, man. And I think Bruno's kind of always been that. Bruno's not been people are frustrated at his decision making, frustrated at the emotions getting the better part of his game, but he just controlled it yesterday. He really did. And we're talking about composed finishes. That goal he scored. Just opened his body up. Finesse. Little curler. Absolutely beautiful goal from Bruno Fernandes. And this is why Erik Ten Hag has kept him in the team. And this is why Erik Ten Hag will not be dropping Bruno. And he should not be dropping Bruno anytime soon. Sam Lewis is saying Bruno's a great vibe. Our leadership's in fine hands. Genuine fighting spirit. Yeah, there is a genuine fighting spirit in this team. Dudley, you're saying always been a Bruno supporter. He does a lot on and off the ball, but as expected, many people see the negatives. I don't know whether it's part of modern culture and modern society, but a lot of people, maybe it's just online in football Twitter, a lot of people's currency and language is negativity. It's much easier to talk about the things that go wrong rather than talk about the things that go right. And I'll be honest, that's been the language of United for the last however many years. So I understand that if people are still stuck in that pessimistic vibe. But I can see I'm on the yellow brick road now, man. I swear. This dude's at the end of it. He's not at the end of it. He's the one leading me on the road. It was just... I'd almost go as far as say that was a classic performance last night. I think that overall performance will be remembered as a sort of line in the sand performance. The reference point. Everything before it was one thing. Everything after it can be something else. That's what Ten Hag needs to be telling these players. That's what these players need to be thinking. Because I think they must be fucking bored of being shit. And I'm bored of United being shit. But last night it wasn't a smash and grab. It wasn't anything but a total team performance, watertight team performance. Defensively up against Harry Kane, who I think is still in the back pocket of Lisandro Martinez. Son, nothing there. My God. Can we all agree Rashford was unlucky last night? I'll speak about Rashford in a bit. A milestone of what we can be. It's an absolute marker. Just needs to be printed up and put on the wall in Carrington. Look, I'm going to move on now and talk about Casemiro. They're going to talk about Shaw, about Delo. We're going to run through player ratings. I'm going to let you know what I think about the Ronaldo situation later on. Make sure you drop a like on the video. So many of you watching, so few of you drop a like on the video. I don't know why. Maybe you just don't know. Chetan, you're absolutely right there to call me out on that. My prediction was wrong. I went for a score draw. Neil from the podcast, he actually predicted a 2-0 win. I think that might be the first time Neil's ever been right in his entire life. But I didn't expect it. And as I said, let's go there and pull up that quote. Neither did Erik Ten Hag. I didn't expect it. Ten Hag didn't expect it. I didn't expect it. But the level of quality that we reached yesterday, wow, fantastic. Let's speak about Casemiro, though. I really want to speak about Casemiro. You see how important a player like he is for the squad, says Ten Hag. He was magnificent. And the performance shows the clubs needed someone like him. He is showing that in the last few games what he can do for the team. And anybody who's been here on United People's TV for long enough knows how exhausted I got arguing and talking about United not having a defensive midfielder, about United needing to sign a defensive midfielder, I'd almost kind of lost hope. And then out of nowhere this summer, when the De Jong situation went up shit creek, Casemiro's name came up. And I said, of all the players we've been linked with this summer, this is the most fantastical one. This is never going to happen. Yep, I was completely and utterly wrong. And then people tried to write him off after a game or two, not understanding that he's moving to a new country where he doesn't speak the language, having established himself in Real Madrid for over 10 years in a certain system, brings his family over. It's a tough move. And now they're eating humble pie because Casemiro. Whoa. And Ferdinand there with an absolute stellar comment. Thank you, Veronique Rabiot. Probably the best scout we've had in the last 12, 14 months. Absolutely did a job for us, she did. Otherwise, that would be Rabiot. But Casemiro was, as I said, I think he set the tone. I really think Casemiro just set that tone. Because everything he did, everybody else did around him. Man, he was every part of Casemiro. That was like the Casemiro that you saw in the Champions League final when I think he was he man of the match against Liverpool? I think he was. That level of performance last night from Casemiro. Right place, right time. Knew when to slow the game down. Knew when to speed the game up. Knew when to sort of go into a tackle to buy. I think we were like 1 minute of 89th minute yesterday. He just goes into a couple of tackles, wins a foul. Old Trafford cheers. Casemiro was just superb yesterday. Genuinely, I would say flawless. And that's what we've now got. And you know the mad thing about yesterday, and I keep thinking this, the absolute madness of yesterday, that was our best performance under Erik Ten Hag. And we did that without Christian Eriksen. Think about that for a second. Because Christian Eriksen has been the centerpiece of this United team so far this season. The majority of the good stuff that we've done has all revolved around Christian Eriksen. And we did that last night without him in the team. That gives me real belief that there's more in this squad than we've seen so far. And I think last night was real testament to that. It really, really took me by surprise. I think it took every single one of you by surprise. Was the completeness of the completeness of it. The completeness of it was just absolutely fantastic. Darren, it's a really tough question to ask now. And these are the sorts of questions. Everyone type yes or no in the comments. Would you like to see Eriksen come into the team against Chelsea away? Or would you like United to try and operate the same sort of level of performance? I don't think we can play with that intensity twice within the space of 4 days. I'll be completely honest. That must have taken something out of those legs. That really must have. I'd be very surprised if. Actually, no, I don't know. It's a really, really hard question. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Lots and lots of, and you're saying no. It's a bit of a split down here, I'd say, in the comments, actually. Yes. No. Yes, no. We need rotation. Yes, Fred's inconsistent. I would say the majority of you are going down here and saying yes, but quite a few of you are saying no. I'll be honest, my gut instinct is telling me that Eriksen would come back in. I don't think we'll go with the exact same full tilt approach away at Chelsea. That would kind of feel a little bit dangerous. And normally away from home, the idea is at the first 15, 20 minutes, you take the sting out of the game and then you try and work yourself into it. But it goes to show what we can do without Eriksen. We can do that performance. So now it gives us belief as fans that when Eriksen's out of the team, that we can actually do a job. And genuinely, I didn't think that we could do that last night with Eriksen. I really, really didn't. I tell you who else was brilliant last night. Oh, Lisandro Martinez, man. I'm at one of the best clubs in the world. This stadium, the atmosphere is amazing. When I heard the fans singing, I wanted to cry. Man, I want to cry. I don't want to cry. I hope Jamie Carragher's crying, though. The Whopper. Tried to write him off after a couple of games in the same way that's just people love to come and you know what? It happens online, in punditry. If you make outrageous claims and you do it early and you're the first to it, you get the traction that you want. You don't really care if you look like an absolute twat. and you get proven to be utterly wrong. But that's just that's some people are happy like that. I wouldn't be. I'd be goddamn embarrassed to live like that and to present myself like that. And I imagine Jamie Carragher should feel embarrassed for the way that he tried to write Lisandro Martinez off. Yesterday, Harry Kane's up there with Erling Haaland. Absolutely muted him last night. Was fantastic. Really was. And it was his aggressive nature against Harry Kane. Every time not every time, first half, there were like 3 or 4 occasions where Harry Kane got the ball, had time to turn, sprayed it out to, I think, Doherty on the right-hand side. And that was where Spurs looked a little bit dangerous. Martinez stopped that by going aggressive, going up and squeezing the space, just punching the back of him effectively the whole game. And Harry Kane couldn't do anything. And I'll tell you what, when you took Harry Kane out, that Spurs team had a huge missing link. Huge missing link. Salim, you're down there saying, look, he silenced Kane and Son. He absolutely did. Look, Carragher is a new Souness. I think Souness is getting kicked off Sky Sports this year. Was Kane on the pitch, says John? I actually don't know. Yeah, Paul, it's a little bit like that, and I hope we do use that. I hope we do use that because I think I need to do a video calling him out on it, but not yet. I'm focusing on the positives. Actually, no, sod that. I'm doing a video on Ronaldo this lunchtime. How would you rate United as of now? Says Night Owl. That performance last night really took me by surprise. And I think it shows that we're a little bit further along that process than I thought we would be. Because as I said, I expected at some point United to click and score 3, 4, 5 goals. I thought that's been coming in the last few games. So many chances we created. At some point, the finishing will just work and we'll bang in a few goals. But last night, it wasn't the finishing that really clicked. It was the pressing. It was the high press. It was the intensity off the ball. And I thought those fundamentals would take a little bit longer to come into the team. But last night, they were just there. They were just there. It was incredible. It really was incredible. Nick, how you doing, buddy? Nice to see you down there in the comments. You're saying competition for places and starting players on merit and form. Doesn't matter what the price tag is, salary, the name, or social media followers. How simple things can be so satisfying. Not even talking tactics. Nick, I mean, last night was far from simple. Executing a system of that intensity requires concentration, focus, training, months of training to get it looking that good. And I don't think any of us thought that we were at that level yet. I expected last night's performance, I didn't expect to see until towards the end of the season. We've seen it in October. 10 games into the Premier League season. Ten Hag is really, really working well. Really working well. Bob, you're saying Martinez had tears in his eyes giving that interview. And Casemiro's reaction to the second goal. It's been a while since we've had that passion. Ah, man. I mean, I think the fans have had the passion, but geez, the players just really have not given a shit. I tell you what, Harry Maguire, to the shadows. 7 times Varane and Martinez have started together, and we've got 5 clean sheets. It's good to have a bit of belief in your centre-backs, isn't it? As fans, we can all agree on that. And something I absolutely have to praise yesterday, this is what I mean. Nearly half an hour into a show, and there's still so much. I can wax lyrical about so many other players from yesterday. I thought Diogo Dalot was absolutely superb. I thought Diogo Dalot stepped it up another level. Stepped up to a level that he has yet to show at Manchester United. I think you can say the same about pretty much every one of those players. But Diogo Dalot, defensively sound. Going forward, so many progressive and aggressive passes, breaking the lines, good overlaps, helping Anthony when he needed to on the right-hand side. And the exact same can be said about Luke Shaw on the left-hand side. Luke Shaw, bro, welcome back. And again, Luke Shaw raised it all up a level. Luke Shaw's done this twice now. Alex Telles and Tyrell Malacia. He is a player who definitely benefits from competition. We've seen it on more than one occasion. And fullbacks yesterday, the proactiveness of the fullbacks were absolutely critical for us having the overload up front. And also that we were covered in defensively because they were tracking back too. It was fantastic. I honestly think you'd be hard struck to kind of choose who played better between Dalot and Shaw. I thought they both played really, really top level football yesterday. And yeah, I wouldn't say I wrote Shaw off, but I felt that Shaw going towards the end of the season, because we've now got Malacia, because we've got Alvaro Fernandez, who, by the way, he's taken Preston by storm. I've been speaking to somebody, Andy, I think your name is. Big up to you, Andy, if you're watching. He's been keeping me sort of informed of how Fernandez has been playing. He's nailing it. And Alvaro Fernandez will be coming through. But Luke Shaw, fair fucking play to you, man. Ahead of the World Cup, he's knuckled down and he's finding that sort of Euros form that got him into the Euro team in the tournament and saw him score in the final against Italy. But this man here, man. This man here. Look, actually, Mr. Z, that's fair enough. I should have a photo of Anthony to talk about Anthony. I don't, unfortunately. I apologize. Anthony yesterday, he's your bums off seats, man, isn't he? You bummed, especially that point where he had two Spurs players. He was back to goal, running away from goal, little dink around them, boom, run back into the space. Yes, please. Anthony was great yesterday. It wasn't, no, great's a bit strong. Anthony was good, very, very good yesterday. There's still more that needs to be coming into his game, absolutely. And by the opposite sort of margin, Sancho. Sancho's lost his confidence to take a man on. Every time he was in a one-on-one situation yesterday, he sort of faced up to his man and decided, you know what, fuck that. Turned around, passed it back to Shaw. And he didn't take the risks. I think Sancho needs to understand that Old Trafford, Man United fans, will forgive him more for taking a risk and failing than they will for not taking any risks or responsibilities at all and passing it to someone else. Will be far more forgiving of the former than the latter. He needs to understand that. And his quality's there. We saw it against Liverpool. But yeah, Sancho, I'm a little bit worried about him, I have to be honest. Roy Keane said that about Shaw last season. How right he was. Dave, he has been right. And everybody seems to be coming through. Sancho's got to use his talent more. Sancho at least got the assist for Fred. Did he? Oh, look at that. What a boy. Sancho needs to be dropped. I don't think... will Sancho be dropped? I don't know. He certainly needs to... I don't know. He needs to find himself. I don't know how... Ten Hag has to manage that. I don't know how he gets that out of him. Matt Richard, let me know where you're watching from, buddy. What you're saying down here. You had Sancho for player of the season. I don't agree with that comment at all. I think Sancho's more than good enough. We've seen that in the Bundesliga with Dortmund. I think we've seen it at points with United too. But he needs to find himself. Now, look, if we're speaking about last night, there were a ton of positives. And the one criticism that I've sort of put towards this team over the last 4 or 5 games has been to do with the lack of clinical finishing. And Thierry Henry said something, and I'll tell you what, Amazon Prime's coverage last night was spot on. I quite enjoyed it. I liked the people they had there. I liked Henry. I liked Evra, Martinez. That was all right. Gabby Logan. Then you had Adam Shearer on commentary, who I thought was going to be terrible. But I actually thought it was good coverage. I think it was decent coverage. I just want to say that. But look, Marcus Rashford. This is what Thierry Henry said. You'll remember this chance. Rashford got himself through, cracking position later on, and look how much power he's put into it. He put so much power into that shot that he's bent his body completely over into a right angle. But this is what Thierry Henry said after it. He said this. He goes, "You've opened the goal up. Just finish it. Why? No, just finish it. Place it. Why hard? Side foot, goal. See you later." Not everyone has your brain, Henry says ever. And he goes, "I know, but you have one. You need to use it." And honestly, I think if you look at that performance last night for Manchester United, if we had put a clinical striker in that team, we would have put Spurs to the sword. It would have been an absolute massacre of a result for them. It really would have been. Marcus Rashford, I thought Hugo Lloris had an absolute stormer of a game. Haven't seen that much at Old Trafford this season, have you? But at the same time, it's about, and I've said this before, it's about finding the corners. There's so much of that goal there that Rashford could be getting that ball into that it just needs a little bit of the Bruno composure. Like Bruno's finish. Took a look up, knew where he wanted to do it, opened his body up, opened his foot up, technique, just bent it in really calmly. Didn't even have to hit it hard because if your placement's spot on, you don't have to hit it hard. Now, Rashford is somebody who's always been better as an instinctive striker. If you give Rashford too much time to think on the ball, he's not as good as when he's just got to react and just put his foot through it. It was wasteful, I think. I mean, Rashford's probably the biggest culprit of the wastefulness, but that will come. And I know that will come, but Rashford's got to look at that finish from Bruno and be like, yeah, you know what? Let me take a step back. But honestly, Andrew, down there, look, when we get a clinical striker in this team, it's going to make it rise. And this is why it's been so unfair, not unfair, but just unlucky that Martial has been injured, because the way he started this preseason, it would have been good. Let me read a few of your comments down here. Osimhen would have bagged 2 yesterday. Well, he's going to cost 100+ mil, so I don't think we're going to get that. It will come to Rashford when he's got enough confidence. He just needs to start scoring. He'll do that. Rashford's finishing wasn't bad. No, it wasn't bad, Connor, but it's how Thierry Henry explained it there. That's the fairest example right there. And that is, Henry has put it better than I could. Because I've told you, it's about football IQ and it's about smartness. And that's exactly what he's saying there. He goes, you open the goal up, just finish it, place it. Why are you smacking it? Side foot that, goal, see you later. And that's what it is. It's about the players in the big moments using their football IQ to go, what's going to be the best option here? And having the split-second ability to do that at the moment. Because it's all well and good us saying it here, but it's difficult for them to do it in real time, right? Paul, let me know where you're watching from, buddy. I'll try and give you a shout-out. Matthew Lawrence saying, look, Luke Shaw's a beast on his day. Blocked a hell of a shot. He did, actually. The head injuries yesterday. What was the ref on? Weird. Again, really weird. As soon as Spurs got a head injury, I think it was a Dyer, blew up immediately. But United had it, and then he just carried on playing. Really weird to see. Really weird flex. Look, there's 2 big things that I want to speak about before the end of the show here. Number 1, we're going to run through the player ratings. And number 2, I am going to speak about the Ronaldo situation. As I told you, there's no way that I was letting this Ronaldo situation lead the story today. It's not the main story. The main story is how good United played yesterday. But I won't ignore the elephant in the room, and I will speak about it. Look, let's run through player ratings. You know how this runs by now. I do this the day after. I do it live and interactive with you. You give me a rating out of 10, and we can start with David De Gea. And again, if you're talking about how composed United were overall, I think the same can be said about David De Gea. I think De Gea looked good yesterday. Obviously, didn't have that much to do, but whenever he had the ball at his feet, that's not whenever, but De Gea was finding those sorts of passes through the lines. He was looking for, instead of just hoofing it long and 24/7, De Gea was really decent yesterday. Let me see what you're thinking about here in the comments with De Gea. Jan, you're going for, John was 7, 8, 7.5, 7. Didn't have much to do. Connor, you're saying 7. Wicked cold one, 7, 6, 8, 8. I would probably go for a 7. I still think there's more to come from David De Gea, but I thought that was a pretty accomplished performance. Andy Mitten agrees. Oh, by the way, these player ratings are by Andy Mitten. I need to get him on here at some point to do the player ratings with me. That'd be fun. What about this, man? Luke Shaw. We've just spoken about Luke Shaw there. That was his best performance of the season. I think his second best performance of the season was probably Everton away. Remember that as well. Yeah, Luke Shaw was fantastic last night. He really, really was. Put himself on the line, defensively aggressive, progressive as a fullback, in the right spots at the right time, helping winning the ball back high up the pitch. Our fullbacks last night were fundamental to how United played. Let me see down here. 8.5 says Angela. 8.5 says Alex. 7.5, 8, 7, 8, 8, 9. Ooh, big one. 9. I'm probably gonna go for a. If there were halves, I'd go for an 8.5. But I don't think Andy does halves, so I think it'll be an 8. Let's see what is down here. Oh, he's given Luke Shaw a 9. 9 out of 10 for Luke Shaw yesterday. I'm a little bit unfair there. Quite a few of you called it down there in the comments. 9 out of 10 for Luke Shaw. Fair play, Luke, man. It really was a fantastic performance. Hey, what about Rafa? Honestly, at points I was totally considering the fact that Rafael Varane was just never going to work out at Manchester United. I was like, you know what? It's just going to be another one of those players that we've signed that's a little bit too old, that the injury problems aren't going to allow him to shine. But Rafa last night, superb. Superb. Look down here, what we all saying in the comments. Wow, look at you. Lots and lots of you going for 9s here. I'm going to have to go with the collective, probably. 8, 8.5. Varane was an 8, 9, 8, 8, 7, 7, 8, 8. I think the overarching score down there is either an 8 or a 9. I'm going to call it as an 8, and let's see what goes down. Because I think Luke Shaw was a little bit more impressive than Rafa. Boy, Rafa Varane gets a 9 as well. Andy Mitten is throwing out some numbers. Rafa and Shaw getting a 9. I mean, right. If Rafa gets a 9 and Shaw gets a 9, does that mean that Martinez gets a 9? Surely he does. Martinez was just, man. I can't wait to embarrass Jamie Carragher with that video. You have to call out people who do stupid stuff like that, because they do stupid stuff like that to make themselves relevant, to shout from the rooftops. I'm going to slap him off that rooftop at some point down. I can't wait to do it. Lots of you going down here. 10s, 9.5, 10s. Whee! 9 for Martin. I'm definitely giving Martinez a minimum of a 9. I'm going to give him a 9. Reese, you're saying 9, 10. Lots and lots of you are throwing straight 10s down here. Don't think we're I suppose it was a clean sheet as well. I'm going to give him a 9 for sure. Martinez is giving him an 8. Ooh, Andy, you're disagreeing all day here. He's rating Varane and Shaw ahead of Martinez. Okay, fair enough. I thought that he personally dealt with Harry Kane. I thought Martinez really dealt with Harry Kane. Not himself, because Varane did a great job too. But Martinez was sensational. What about Diogo Dalot then? Man, what a defensive performance here. We've got David De Gea on a 7, Luke Shaw on a 9, Rafa on a 9, Martinez on an 8. Diogo Dalot, I think, could have been named man of the match yesterday. I just think it was the most complete performance from Diogo Dalot. Not only defensive positioning and being there in the right time. Remember when Perisic was through in the first half? Really good and smart defending from Dalot in a one-on-one situation. Progressing the ball really well. Supporting Anthony really well. What are you saying down here? 8, 7, 8s and 9s. Ukemi, you're going for a straight 10. Marco, you're going for a 9.5. Jeez. 7, 9, 8, 8. If Luke Shaw's got a 9, I wouldn't be surprised if Dalot's got a 9, but I would probably give him an 8. He's got an 8. So Andy's rated Dalot and Martinez as an 8, and Varane and Shaw as a 9. Now we're moving on to this man here. We've already rated Martinez, and we don't rate Perisic. Casemiro. Woo! Just got a big smile on my face. I could have put Casemiro's picture on the wall there today, but no, we had to put Erik Ten Hag back up there. Of course we did. No offense to Rude. What would you give Casemiro for that game? He really was superb. Really was superb. 9s and 10s being thrown out down there. I'll be honest, it's collective 9s and 10s. I'll be extremely surprised down here in the comments if Casemiro has not been given a 9 by Andy Mitten. I really will be. He's giving him an 8. Oh, God, he has. He's giving him an 8. Oh, I thought Casemiro was right up there with man of the match. Just the level, the intensity, the aggression. And it's not just aggression for the sake of aggression. It's just everything he did was world-class last night. Band, you're saying 8 because of the yellow card. Otherwise, it's a 9. Hey, look, he still played brilliantly with that yellow card. It didn't really stop him. I'll be giving him a 9, but Andy Mitten's giving him a 10. What about Fred, though? What about Fred? I said this on Twitter yesterday. Fred is just that player, right? He either puts in a 1 out of 10 performance or a 10 out of 10 performance. He really, really does. There's rarely an in-between with Fred, which is a bit of a weakness of his overall game. But when he's on form, Fred yesterday was the definition of the Ten Hag system, the epitome of it, the high press. I could not believe how much Fred was scrapping for the ball as soon as it was free. It was fantastic from him. 9s, 8s, 9s, 10s, couple of 10s down there, 3 10s. Ooh, 10.2 says Carl. Very nice. Couple more nines. Chris, how you doing, buddy? 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, 10. Fred was everywhere. He gets a 10. I mean, if Fred's not a 9, then I don't know what's going on. Fred's a 9. Of course, Fred's a 9. Fred really was superb yesterday. It's kind of as close as you can get to a 10 out of 10 performance from a midfielder of that style who plays like that. It was fantastic. And hell, what about Bruno? My God, this is what I mean. Look at these player ratings. 7, 9, 9, 8, 8, 8, 9. This is the most collective team performance that we've seen from United in so long. Bruno Fernandes, Captain Bruno, came up with the goal. So many doubts about Bruno overall as a form and his form this season. I think I've been defending him fairly over the last few games, but Bruno stepped up a little bit yesterday. He really did. Really smart play from Bruno overall. Let's see what we're saying down there. Bruno got 11, 9.98 and 9. Ian, very specific. 9, couple of 10s up there. 8, 9, 9, few 9s. I think I probably agree with you. I think I've got to go Bruno for a 9. For me, he was on par with Fred. Yeah, he's got a 9. It really was. Yeah, 9 key passes. I think he created more chances in that game than anybody else. He created more chances in that game than anybody else since September 2001. He created 9 chances yesterday. And the player who created the most chances before him was Bruno Fernandes. That was the real Bruno. More of it, man. What about Anthony? This might be an interesting one. I enjoyed Anthony. I really enjoyed that. If I'm looking at the front three, Anthony, Sancho, and Rashford, I think Anthony played the best. I think Anthony still needs to find that. I don't know whether it's a confidence or I know he's massively one-footed, yes, but he can go on the outside of players. He does need to do that a little bit more often. Otherwise, he will just make himself too much of a single profile attacker, and teams will know how to double up on him and therefore nullify the threat. But he brushed the outside of the post. Some cracking football, and he's the one who gets bums off seats, man. 7.5 out of 10, 8, 7, 7, 8.5. 8 had a good game. Ian, you're going for a 7.5. 7, 7.5. I think if I could choose halves, I would go for 7.5. I think that would be a fair estimation. I imagine he's got a 7. He's got an 8. Okay, and he's giving him an 8. I thought I would probably put it more down as a 7, but I think it was a decent enough performance. What about Jaden Sancho? Let's have a conversation about him now then. Jaden Sancho yesterday, Jaden Sancho struggling, man. I think it must be a confidence thing. It's the lack of aggression that's in his play, the lack of confidence to take someone on, almost the fear of failing, the fear of taking a risk on and it not working out. I don't know whether it's a complex inside his head. I don't know what it is, but Sancho needs to find himself because at this moment in time, he's not doing enough on that left wing. And too often he's turning back in one-on-one situations. Sancho was a 6. He'll come alive. 6, going for 5s and 6s. 6, 6.5. He got an assist as well. Remember that. 6, 7, 0 desire. Don't think it's desire. 7 for Sancho. 6 if not for the assist. I would probably go for a 6. I think a 6 would be a fair number for Sancho. Oh, wow. And he's giving him an 8. I'm not sure I can put Jaden Sancho on the same level as Anthony performance-wise yesterday. I don't think that would be fair. I think Sancho was just a little bit of a couple of shades below how Anthony played. So I think 6, 6.5 would probably be a fair estimation of Jaden. It wasn't terrible, but I don't think he was as impressive as Anthony yesterday. So I would give him a 6.5. 6, 6.5. What about Marcus Rashford? Marcus Rashford, man, he gets himself in such good positions. His runs are good. The runs are being found. It's just the finishing. It's the hardest thing to do in football, right? It's to score goals. That's why goal scorers are worth so much money and why they're so important to the team. But Rashford yesterday was integral to how well we played overall as a team unit. Let me see what you're saying down here. 6.5, 6, 9.5. Okay. 8 for the positions. 6, 7 for finishing. 7, 8, 7s, 9s, 7.5, 9, 8, 8, 8. I personally would give Rashford I would give him a 7.5. version. Yeah, 7.5 or an 8. There you go. And he's giving him an 8. So he's given 8s across the board for all the attackers. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. I think Anthony was probably... Actually, no. Rashford was really good too. Anthony and Rashford were equally as impressive. I thought Sancho was just on a little bit below him. But all Rashford's got to do is just got to take time out for himself, thinking, you know what? Just get your head up a little bit. Try and get that millisecond advantage to open your foot. Try and find those corners. He's doing all the hard work, all the running, all the movement, all the positioning. It's all spot on. It's just the finishing, which is just letting him down at the moment. And I know it will come in time. I absolutely know it will come in time. And now we come to the part of the show where maybe a lot of you wanted me to speak about it at the start, but I refuse to. I absolutely refuse to. I will speak about it now. Yesterday was the most, as we've just seen in the player ratings. Shaw got 9. Rafa got 9. These are Andy Mittens. Martinez got 8. Dalot got 8. Casemiro got 9. 8. Fred got 9. Bruno got 9. The best team collective performance yesterday. And Cristiano Ronaldo decided 2 minutes before the end of full time that he didn't want to sit there and cheer with his teammates. Honestly, the first thing I would say here, and I'm going to do a video on this that's going to go out separately. Imagine what must be going through Ronaldo's head to the point where he actually feels strongly enough to get up off the bench and walk down the tunnel. He's not taking any enjoyment out of United being 2-0 up there. He's just thinking, why am I not on the pitch? What about me? So much so that he walked down the tunnel. And not only did he walk down the tunnel, Laurie Whitwell here in The Athletic this morning saying that Ronaldo left Old Trafford. He didn't even go into the dressing room to talk and congratulate, talk with and congratulate his teammates on the best collective team performance. I've tried to sit on the fence with Cristiano Ronaldo. You know full well that I have. I will not sit on the fence anymore. I don't care how many people unsubscribe. Genuinely, and I don't mean this in a horrible way. I'm not trying to split my own fan base here, but I've tried to be on the fence with it. But that there yesterday is such an utterly disrespectful thing to do to Erik Ten Hag, to divert attention away from the result and the performance. Ten Hag should not have been speaking about Ronaldo after that game. He was irrelevant. But here we are. And that infuriates me. Really infuriates me. Dave, you're down there saying wanted the headlines. It was petulance. It really was pure petulance. I know he's frustrated. And I'll tell you what, it's just Ronaldo's not... He's realizing he's mortal. He's realizing he's not 27 anymore. And it's... Look, I'm going to save the rest of the conversation on Ronaldo for the video I'm going to be doing. It's going to go out straight after this. But that has pushed me past the point of no return. When it comes to Ronaldo, when it comes to this decision, when it comes to what's going on at Manchester United at the moment, it's anybody who's trying to defend him after that, I'd love to know your justification. I really would. I put that tweet out yesterday. I'll tell you what, my mentions, I'm staggered by the amount of United fans that are still defending Ronaldo from that action. It was the 89th minute. He could have sat there quietly for 3 minutes and done nothing. But instead, he felt empowered enough to get up off the bench during the game and just stroll off down the tunnel. Think about it. It's mind-boggling. It really is. But I'll tell you what, my overall feeling from yesterday, yeah, bring that back, baby. This is the focus. I'm very happy. I'm very, very happy. Yesterday was brilliant. Yesterday was magnificent. Yesterday was a glimpse of what we've got coming up. This is the future for Manchester United. If Erik Ten Hag gets the players that he wants into this team to make it a full squad, this is where we can get towards if everybody buys into this Manchester United system that he is building, like we bought into it yesterday. Ronaldo will have no part of that. Ronaldo was brilliant at Manchester United, and we've all got fantastic memories of him previously. But this is a new United, and this is Erik Ten Hag's ball, man. And look, there might be quite a few of you down here in the comments saying, look, Sam, like, don't try not to overhype it. And I'm not overhyping it. And even if I am overhyping it,
we're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway. We're gonna do it anyway.
As if Barry wasn't coming out today, ladies and gents. As if Barry wasn't coming out today. Come on, we're definitely wrapping it up on that. Tony Pereira, you've joined. Barry gets everybody joining. Barry gets everybody bouncing. What a bloke. What a performance. What a team performance. What a manager. This feels different. This feels different. Yesterday was just, it was magnificent, man. Let's have it as the start of something new. We've got a blueprint. Let's hold on to it. I'm going to do my video on the Ronaldo situation. It will go out probably within the next 40 minutes on the channel. If I can, later on today, I'm also going to try and do a bit of an analysis on the game, because that was the best example we've had of the Ten Hag system and the next level of it, which we haven't quite seen yet. I think it deserves its own deserved its own video. Stephen, you're right down there. Barry got a straight 10 out of 10 performance. Absolutely. But look, thank you all for joining in. That was a hell of a show this morning. Thank you all the mods for helping with the chat. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to Zane. Thank you to Gungshi for the helping the memberships, with gifted memberships, helping the community. Big up to all of you. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop a like on the video. It's not easy to do this, but you make it easier as a community. Love the conversation. Mate, I'll tell you what, up the fucking Reds.